This is your weekend market recap for Friday, May 27th, 2022. Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max at EXPI Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your daily market recap for Friday, May 27th, 2022. I think this is the last trading day of the month. No, sorry, it is Tuesday. Be aware, quantitative tightening. The Feds are going to be pulling liquidity out of the system. Starts on Wednesday. We have what I would consider window dressing big time. People are chasing the market up as we close this week. A lot of irregular moves, light volume, stretched action. Market is up 8.5% off the lows. Everyone's calling for a bear market rally. Everybody's super excited. The real deal, in my opinion, even though I do believe the market will be going lower in near term, is that we had 7 straight weeks of down. The market doesn't really go down and go in one direction continuously. So, again, if you're newer to the channel, stop by the Discord room. We talk about a lot of different things. Today, I'd like to do a little request action for the weekend, just because, hey, there is a ton of questions going on, especially with the oil market, because I want to talk about why I see what I do, and again, relearn, revisit, rehash some of the things that I look for topping mechanisms and bottoming mechanisms. People are like, what are you doing? And it's like, to me, the best short is oil and gas, but people don't see that. They see the market going crazy. They see 50 articles every hour bullish on oil. And again, as we talk about all the time, and the room is that, hey, look, check out these rules. Again, stop by the Discord room, link is in the description below. This is what the specialists do. The most active stocks require longer periods of time to distribute. Advance will have to be more dramatic on the upside to attract public interest in order to distribute and ever increasing accumulated inventories. This is all stuff that happens in the markets right before they're about to flip the other way. Because I don't know about you, but I've been in this situation where I thought something was super bullish, going straight line, move higher, realizing that trying to catch a big move, and ultimately it reversed heavily the other direction. I held, and it ultimately went much lower, and I was like, what the heck happened? That happens a lot, and I feel like that's happening here in parts of the market, and let's go over it. So my boy Eric here asks, can you please pull up MRO, Oxy, and Valero? Yes, I will pull them at the end when we're doing all of the oil names. Again, I know a lot of people are incredibly frustrated by this trade, and trust me, I get it. But I can only imagine being one of the people who was actually buying oil near the lows, when it went negative, and people just going, oh, I'm giving up on oil, and eventually it turned around, and it is where it is today. And again, the market's really good at making people feel 1000% confident something's going to go in one direction, the highs or the lows, to go lower right before it's about to be topping or reversing. One of the first examples will be what? Bitcoin chopped, made a higher high. You couldn't find a bear in the world in Bitcoin. Everyone got blown out. Everybody believed Bitcoin was going to 100,000. It just broken over 50,000. Remember, we talked about this area, it got back over 65,000. I'm thinking of back in the day when it, the first time it hit, was it 50 and it went a little higher? Yeah, anyway, maybe, it's here. I was like, oh, there it goes. Made a higher high. Everybody and their mom loved Bitcoin. What happened? And now we're cutting half and more. Again, same kind of sentiment. Think about the time people were saying Bitcoin is the new gold. Bitcoin is going to replace the dollar. You literally couldn't find a bear in the street. And then ultimately happened. Bitcoin got smoked. Here we are today, near the lows. Let's get into some more of this stuff. Now, again, long-term on Bitcoin, I'm not really sure. Near-term, I don't really trust it. Because, again, it's holding at these levels. I'll go back to it real quick. Holding at these levels is dangerous because you need to get away from it to rip off. But if it does hold it successfully, then it will go higher. But if it does not, folks, you know where it could go, much lower. We all know that. That's what Bitcoin does. It's another one of those widowmaker type stocks where it just blows out people and they become wiped out if they're wrong, or they hold too long, leveraged way too highly, and it just goes lower and lower and lower and lower and lower, ultimately correcting 70%, 80%, and then it rallies while people thought buying it on any significant discount was a good deal, and it wasn't until it was the bottom. TLT. All right, here's another extreme of how Dan picks a bottom or top, and it works sometimes, and then sometimes you're just early, sometimes you're just late. What did we see back in May? Oh my God, interest rates are this. Mortgages, 5%. Everybody's freaking out. I initially thought this would be the bottom. It was just a channel. And then we ultimately went way lower, left it alone, bought it literally on this day. People remember, if you come by the Discord, it's in there. I bought in the 112s, sold it the very next day up when it popped. Got to like 116 the 8th day and was like, I'm done. Again, I'm not one of those types of people that believes in V bottoms, V tops. However, you will see them in extreme moves. Now, will TLT retest the lows? This was an extreme move. Maybe not now, maybe 3-6 months from now, who knows? But let's look at the time frame and the mindset of what was going on. Because again, I want people to realize, like, why you think, like, dude, why are you shorting oil? You seem like the biggest idiot doing that. And I'm like, okay, I get that. I absolutely get that. But this is the thing. I fade the sentiment. I know the rules of anti-cooling. I've been involved in this action a billion times. And one of the things is when you break out of the channel, you know, and again, this wasn't necessarily smooth. It was still pretty steep. But when you break out of the channel, it's usually the exhaustion move, the bottom. Believe the same here with the TLT. And ultimately, if we buy it, see a retest, it's probably worth a buy. The dollar. Okay, another straight up move. What happened near term? Pulled back. Straight, boop, 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 boink, pulled back. Now, again, this is different because this is a monthly. I do think the dollar will go higher in time. Quantitative tightening should be dollar bullish. But again, I'm not shorting or long in the dollar. I'm just watching it as a reference. Because again, the market was getting, where was money plowing into when the market was getting nervous? They were buying the dollar. So we're going to see if that trend continues. The VIX, booyakasha, coming right back. What did we talk about? Like this 24, 25, 26 level compression. You know, you can't get over this level. And so if you're going to bring back in complacency before you start dumping again, you're probably going to need to chop around and knock out the VIX a little bit. It's kind of reminds me of here, you know, when you bottomed here, you kind of had to retest. You know, it's one of those things where the VIX game is incredibly difficult, as everyone knows. But I remind people, think about the VIX from the past versus now. SPY. Okay, here's another example of a straight line move up being the culmination of the peak. We go look at the monthly. Nice smooth channel, breaks out to a higher channel, goes even more bonkers. Look how steep that is. And so, of course, it's back at the 20-month. I said this last week. I said it the week before. Hey, guys, if you are shorting the market, shorting tech, shorting whatever that was not oil related, please be careful with your shorts. That's why I was less short. I've told that to people a billion times. Like, I was taking more shorts off in Apple, AMD, QQQ. SPY monthly now. Wow, nice little pop. Keep in mind, like, this kind of action leads to lower lows. Now, how high can it go? Zero chance it's going to channel. Like, people are saying 4,400. Said watch the 20-day. It broke over it, gapped over it. We're back testing an old trend line here. Right here. This is a super old one. And now what? End of the month markup. People get excited. I mean, I would look at the 423 to 425 level. That to me seems like the, after watching the action again, because people are always asking, what's your target, Dan? If the market comes off lows, it's really tough to predict targets, just like it's really tough to predict the highs. Let's let the action play out. Now, again, I did not short anything today other than a little bit of oil, and that just didn't really work out. And we'll talk about that shortly. But I would think that max, again, today could be the max upside because the next day is the last day of the month and people might profit take because it has been a crappy month. However, when you go look at the monthly candle, what does it look like? Doji, indecision, need more information, which to me, again, I think will be more bearish in time. Be safe. The QQQ, this thing has been a total dog. We talked about it down here. We said, you know what, it might back test this old channel trend line and bounce, and it has. But keep in mind, it is so far under the 20-month, not bullish. People are rotating out of tech. So again, if you feel like you need to short something that is more safe, tech is the short. It's absolutely the short on a bounce. IWM, we'll kind of wrap through this quick because I want to get into some of the examples and some of the, requests, because maybe I'll start doing this on the weekend. As people have requests, I'll do a couple at the end. Where are we at? We're right back here at 180s. I mean, we talked about why it would bounce. Hence why we were saying, please layer out of some shorts. Be very careful. Be thoughtful of your continuation. Again, if you have big gains, please don't just assume straight line all the time. Hit the 2018 high and then hit the 2020 high. Meow, cat's in the background. And it held. Not surprised. Not surprised. So keep that in mind. Again, what's next? I would venture, I guess, somewhere between 190, like low 190s. We might be there right now. Let's just keep that in mind. Let me drag the fib down just a little. Where was it? Can I grab it? Yep. Let's try to grab it real quick. Pull it up. Where would be like the 0.382? Huh. At the quarter, 0.382 up there. Interesting. Again, when the fibs line up, you gotta be on red alert. Red alert, because again, the market is controlled by computers, and Fibonacci's are order and chaos in nature. Gold and silver. Gosh, I feel like a broken record every day on the recaps, but I mean, it's so amazing to me. Like, I mean, I tell this to I'm trying to be nice to these folks on Twitter. Hey, gold and silver will not bottom until the market capitulates. And even if it doesn't, it will retest at some point. And again, if it does capitulate, that's when we want to get in, because then it'll be an absolute smash bottom that you can buy, because that's what gold does. That's what silver does. And so look what happened. You got up here into this old resistance zone. You backed up. You're about the 20-day. There's no volume down here. There's no like sense of accumulation in my mind. It's more of a blow off top and just going back to the range lows. Now, again, where do I think the best price levels? Now, again, targets, they're all relative, right? I would guess somewhere in the 160 to upper 150s. I've said that many times. I thought we'd hold here. We got to bounce. I thought we'd hold around here. We got lower and we bounced. Now, again, straight line moves. Like, don't have that prerogative that you're controlling the market. It's going to go a straight line. I mean, you like when you get a lot of straight line moves. You like to see this, but it doesn't always happen. It just really doesn't. Especially in the seasonality of the second quarter. Silver, gold, miners. Here we go. Again, silver. Love it down here. Not buying it. Nice pop up to 2060. Flop. Where do you like it on the monthly, Dan? Like, all right, where do you think, where would be your target for a buy? Now, again, since I've traded silver for many times over for a long, long time, what did we talked about this monster look below and fail, and look what it led to. All right, so if this is the range that we're considering, say that's support there, this is the support zone, I'd like to see it down in the 16, 17 range. Like that to me, again, all of the prognosticators that are on Twitter, Facebook, or not Facebook, stock twits, all the social media avenues that are related to stocks are just, everybody's bullish silver. And again, silver is one of those widow makers. It's very much like Bitcoin. Like when it corrects, it blows everybody out. And it just hasn't done that yet. I mean, I'm seeing way too many cheerleading silver parties out there, meaning like, hey, silver bottom, we're good. Hey, Bobby, we bought silver at, you probably bought it at the lows. I'm not going to attack people for that. I probably bought it somewhere in 19s and like, hey, it's up to 20. Woohoo. And it's like, hey, bud, it's really not up that much. So at this point, 20-day for GDX, again, I mean, we identified where it should bounce and it did. The monthly, if I had to take a venture, a guess, again, because again, downside targets are really hard. Just like the upside targets, as we're watching in the XOP. When people get emotional and they start chasing stuff, there is no limit to where the craziness can get to at times. I mean, same thing with Tesla. We're going to get into that shortly. Somewhere back, probably in the low, I wouldn't say low 20s. I would say mid-20s. Mid-20s have been major support for the long term. We've talked about this range, the support resistance range. I mean, maybe you can even pull it down. I think you guys can see where I would pull it to. Maybe somewhere in here, like the old lows or highs from 2017, maybe 25. Again, once we blow out and it starts really nuclear drop, that's fine. I don't care what price you buy it because it should bounce back strongly. At this point, GDXJ, same thing. Like this, let's just roll through the miners. We told you, please stay away. Don't be aggressive. Don't be early on these names. AG, it looks so great up here. We said, watch out, friends. Watch out, because we even we hedged our positions or sold them, and it's just been boom. And now I know straight line move, that is pretty straight line-ish. So it bounces. 20-day, not surprised. Where do you want to buy it long term? I mean, set your alerts for 735, and if it retests it, you can watch what happens from there. AEM, same kind of thing. Love it down here in the 45s. NFGC, talked about this company with Sprott's buying. I think he's made the biggest bet he's ever made on a gold miner in history on this thing. Was that a good thing or a bad thing? We'll see. Mid fives, maybe threes. PAAS, same kind of thing. I mean, hey, we knew it would bounce down here, and it did. And if you played it, sweet. 20-day, probably not going to get over it. And even if it does, don't marry it. All right, materials. And again, people are like, oh, dude, you've got to buy these down here. The dollar's about to get smoked, blah, 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 blah. Friends, we were buying it down here below. Again, remember how we talk about blowouts lead to big up moves? Support got blown out. Boom. Where did we get out? We started getting out near the 200 month. And now, again, I got out a little early, and it went actually a little above it. And people were like, oh, it's breaking out. And I'm like, well, I'll let it go. And then what happened? It gets up towards mid or upper 30s, and then choppy, boom. And again, that's pretty straight line-ish. Again, market's gotten beat down. You're at the 250-day. Cool, nice bounce. But it is not going back up to 38. Don't have your brain wrapped around the certainty of that. Because if the market has not capitulated, I think we could probably get back down to 17, 18, 19, 20 range. Again, set your alarm for 2280. See what happens. I mean, again, I love these names. VALE, love this. And I mean, it popped even more today. Hey, high five to them. We bought it down here. Scott with the epic bottom down here. He's buying it at 11. Caught a double A. Talked about exiting up here. And now what? Wait for the prices. I mean, again, I would love to see it touch the monthly channel low. Somewhere in the 13, 14 range. Because then you can buy it and you can pretty much sit on it. And be comfortable. Wow, CCJ uranium people, man, they're bullish. And again, we talked. It's not like we didn't say you couldn't buy it down here. We talked about this is all the channel low range lows, and now again, exact channels. I don't always draw with exactness. Trading is not something you use a computer with, or not a computer, a ruler with. Nice bounce. We talked about it. Probably struggling with the 20-day. What did it do? It's made a little higher high. I don't know what to say to this other than just please absolutely be careful. Arrow. Again, I don't trust any of these names. They're all going to get slammed. When the market gets beat down, everything's beat down. It doesn't really work like that. Anything else? Talked about the 20-day. Love it if it retests. Set your alarm for 10. Mosaic and CF. Now, again, here we go. A straight line. Upper move. Monster move. You go from 36 up to almost 80. What did we talk about? Oh, fertilizer. It can only go higher. Dude, do you not realize? Because again, a lot of people talk like they're like, bro, dude. I've also been watching the George Carlin special. Hey, man, don't you see this going higher? There's a food shortage, wheat shortage, yada, yada, yada. Ukraine. Yes, when prices get so high in things, people look for substitutes. They also curtail their demand because they can't afford this stuff. Now, again, I like these companies long term because, again, they will have pricing power, but big straight move up. Fail. Now again, chopping sideways. I mean, again, it's probably due to bounce, maybe. Again, I'm not. Wait for the capitulation. Same thing with CF. I mean, look at these monthlies. If you know what reference Chappelle is. Straight line move. Boom. Hits an old trend line. I mean, it's like clockwork. Keep in mind, I've been trading CF for a long time. Remember this one is a little. This thing has gone bonkers over the years. Man, I remember that 5-for-1 split. I told you, I'm like, when you do a 5-for-1 split, hint, Amazon, 10, whatever, 1 split, you're putting too much inventory back into the market. And if the market gets soft at any point, fail. Where are we at now? Oh, you got above the trend line. Oh, you're going higher. We'll reference ExxonMobil shortly for the reason to short. AMD. All right, here's another straight line rocket ship higher. That ended up being a failure. And again, this is why we can reference this over and over. And I try to tell people, like, you got to have time. Like, because when the top comes, it could be sloppy toppy, choppy toppy, or it could just be slammer time. It really depends on the market. Well, it did head and shoulders top. You couldn't find a single bear. Everybody was saying, hey, people are buying, all these chips and memory cards and all this crap to help out with mining Bitcoin. All right. That was the peak. And then what? Boom. You've come back down. We've talked about like this area potentially holding. Really wanted to see the 70s. And we've popped, oh, we're over the 50-day now again. Keep in mind, we got over the 50-day previously and then failed. Maybe look at 104, 105. If you're shorting up here, give yourself a little room. Please do not be exact. Apple, same thing we said. Watch this lower end of the range. I mean, it broke down here. If you look on the monthly, we talked about this blue area somewhere in the 130s. It's old support resistance right in here. You can see it. It held. Now again, it's ripping. We're looking at this right here. 150s. Start shorting again. Facebook. The book. Now again, another steep channel. Failure. Where do you want to get in? The stock seems like it's just done. I mean, consolidates, big down. Consolidates, big down. Maybe it's waiting for their next earnings, which are going to be probably absolute. Snapchat showing the way. People are not advertising. They don't care about this stuff. At this point, Facebook, just leave it alone. Roblox, VPA bottom. This is the kind of capitulation after a big down move that feels like you could rocket back up. But again, if the market's weak, Roblox is either a takeout target or it's a flatliner. Because again, you need the market. I mean, it's you need the market, guys. If you want to see a rising tide, even if it's gold and silver, which are supposedly their hedges against the market. No, they're not, y'all. I don't know who says this stuff, but go look at the charts. If they were, then the charts would agree. All right, let's strap into Tesla, because again, I want to go over this. Because again, this feels like what's going on with the XOP, oil and gas names. For a long time, this is a nice smooth up channel. This up was the final move. I mean, I remember talking about this double doji, like, whoa, 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 be careful. And then what? Boom. 1,200 down to 9 something. Real quick. Then you got the retest and boom, lower lows. The uptrend, we talked about it, wasn't sustainable. Like, that's just too much, too fast. When you go from 5 something up to 1250 very quickly, you got to expect it. And then this is the biggest kicker, I think, that people aren't realizing. Like, I would not be shorting oil if I didn't think the market was in a bear market, because then it could probably go much higher. Because again, like, think about the substance of irrationality. In a bull market, this is what Tesla can do. This in a bear market, it does this. Ooh. Now again, it's bouncing. Of course, we talked about it being oversold. Talked about on the monthly. Talked about these fibs. Talked about, like, you can see like all these wicks here. This is a very indecisive area. Not surprised it bounced. Again, this is another one you can put back on your short radar. Let's get into EXPI. Here's another one. Again, people talk about fundamentals. Dan, do you not understand fundamentals? I understand fundamentals. I actually have a finance degree. I understand accounting very well. I know how to actually read companies' financial statements and balance sheets. Very familiar with that. Debits, credits, assets, shareholder, equity, all that kind of stuff. I'm familiar with it. It's been a while since I've dusted that off, but this company's doing really well. But look, it went from 90 down to 14. Fundamentals out the window. You're welcome. I mean, I feel like I said this for about, I don't know, 5 weeks, that I thought this company was going to break out and go higher because it was being accumulated after earnings. Then you saw this bar. Zigada! FDA approval, and it's gone. Pat myself on the back for that one. Again, I'm not always right, but I am usually pretty good about ultimately what happens. All right, USO, let's get into it. Let's start the story from leg one. There once was oil, and it was considered important to the economy. COVID came, electric cars came, and supposedly oil was done. It was over. You're never going to need it again. The market makers had a ton of inventory to accumulate at the lows. We have slowly gone back higher. Again, you can see, like, here's the smooth up channel. Yada, yada, yada. Let me clean this up for you guys at home. So you had the smooth, nice, easy listening, sweet jazz of oil rising. Then we went pretty perpendicular. We went Ukraine. Oh my God. Now at the high. Hey guy. Hey friend. Hey buddy. Hey pal. Oil's the future. It's like, what the huh? Now everybody's buying oil. Everyone's investing in oil. Now again, there's supply issues, there's shortage issues. I get it. But typically what follows, no different than shortages in semiconductors is a glut. Oil will be overproduced. The pricing of the action will eventually lead to what? Now again, we had this mini arrow here, and we talked about coming down. I feel terrible because again, I mean, I'm down 23% in my accounts on this stuff, shorting it. Again, I take, and this is here's a risk management thing. Please listen to this. When I make big money in my trading accounts, I do not grow my trading accounts and then bet bigger. I typically, what I do is I do a review at the end of the year and see how much I've pulled out. Can I afford to make bigger bets? Am I doing things correctly? Am I improving? Are things getting better? Early in the year, I mean, I think we talked about this in May after the shorts coming down. I took out a bunch of money, as you should. Again, because you're having a big trading account is like having a big wallet at the casino. Like, you might bust it out at the wrong time and lose. Like, so be careful. Where are we at now? We filled the gap. We're right back up against the highs. Now, again, is there going to be another event that really pops oil? I don't know. But again, I want you guys to look at this. Smooth and steady channel. Straight line move. Let me just type this in here and see if this helps. Now does it look like Tesla? Does it now look like Tesla now that I put the ticker symbol up there? You good? Now what? It's probably going to drop in time. Now here we go. Let's get into ExxonMobil, XOP, then we'll get into Marathon, Oxy, and Valero. We talked, man, this chart is so dirty. I talked about ExxonMobil, the monthly chart first. Let's start there. What are we doing? Why would anyone sell up? Oh, because this has always been the ceiling. Is that not look like CF a couple months ago? Mosaic. Materials led down off the highs. Other materials, oil and natural gas aren't going to catch a beat down? No. Get out of here. Let's get rid of let's get rid of it. Google, don't care. Let's throw UNG in there because we talked about this like yesterday. This is why I'm pretty confident in the highs. Look at this steep ass action, and then look at the last couple days as oil is making highs. Nat gas blew out. You can see very clearly. You made a channel high. You made a retest of high. Now you're making lower lows. Nat gas. Will it precede the USO? Which again, it's not even close to $130 a barrel. If you remember the high, we're at I don't know, at 118, 117. I haven't looked at the exact price today because my wife had a graduation. Congratulations to her. She is definitely the smartest person in this house, educationally. And so what? We go to the, Exxon. All right, let's go back to ExxonMobil. We saw it on the monthly. What do we? Doji, you made a slightly higher high today. Do you trust it? Now again, this is your grandfather's ExxonMobil. This isn't some tech company. But what we talk about is momentum follows. I can't even. There's so many lines on this chart. I've been trading it for so long. Now what? Who's chasing it in the quarter? All right, if you're not familiar with window dressing, this is what it is. It's when institutions, funds, mutual funds, fund manager, whatever, they know their clients are going to be getting what? Their statements in a couple of weeks. What do they need to show on the book? ExxonMobil. Even though people won't look at the date it was purchased, it makes them look smart when they have a bunch of oil names probably in their on their statements, right? Same thing. XOP. This is pretty wild because I know a few of people in the room are like, dude, this has gone nuts. And it's like, well, let's see how nuts it really is. All right, steep move off the. That was actually the retest, slightly higher low. Straight line, boom. All right, here we go. Let's draw the story out. Nice smooth channel. Break out of it. Steeper steepness. Now look at the candles. Look at the daily. I mean, someone was saying, I think 15% in 5 days. Let's do the math. 132. So every $13 would be 10%. Whoa. We've gone from 132 to 157. Yeah, I mean, it's almost 20%, and that's just from last week. This is rational, right? No, this is what this is. That's what you're coming into. And again, these candles don't, this kind of action, you knew it was going to pull back high volume, but then you saw the action kind of start creeping up. Again, what that tells me if you understand trading, this down here was like the market maker moving around in and out. Now on these moves, like there's no big money isn't the one buying this. Like big money realized probably after they sold the lows. So there's a lot of stupid idiots who sold down here. I need to get back into oil and gas. Well, now what's happening is we run higher. We're running out of oil and gas. Like this thing is getting tired. I mean, you should. I mean, again, if this was like, keep in mind, like the bigger the what you consider the consolidation move, the bigger the up move. This seems like chasing. This seems like, again, go read Twitter, stock twits, pay attention to the sentiment. What is the one thing that's going higher? Oil and gas. Like that, again, I vehemently got attacked for telling people you probably need to take your profits on Tesla. Now you need to sell your profit. Now you need to take all of your money because it was going in a straight line. You try to tell that to anybody who is not a seasoned trader right now, and they're just like, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. This is going to the moon. It's like, all right, maybe, I mean, again, who knows? Could it get to could it hit this upper channel? I mean, 161. Time will tell. This is just not sustainable. So I just warn people. Marathon oil. I'm pretty sure I have lines on this from the past. Let's see. Let's check out the monthly. Nope. Again, this thing has been around a while. God, I remember this reverse split. This thing was like a single, like got down to like single digits, like penny stock land. Let's do the act. I mean, again, do I need to do you see this action? This is not sustainable. It's like that wasn't sustainable. You got counter. This isn't like natural upside. Let's draw some fibs real quick. Cause I mean, I know Marathon. I guess I just gave up on it when it got so cheap and it went reverse splitty and smashy. Oh gosh. Huh. Oh gosh. Oh man. Wonder if you can pull this thing across and see how many candles it actually hits against. Hopefully you're having a better day than I am. We sat in the sun and I got absolutely nuked today at my wife's graduation. Congratulations to her awesomeness, but it was a scorcher, 80s and sunny. I am lobster red. Notice all the wicks that kind of struggle here. Here we're coming into it. We're coming into it. So, I mean, again, at this point, Marathon Oil months ago, I mean, at the lows, I mean, this was $3. Now you've run up to 30. Straight line. We'll see what happens. I mean, letter X did the same kind of thing. Oxy. Buffett's buying. Buffett's buying. Buffett's buying. Oh, look at that. We're at channel highs. Interesting. Is it? I don't know. Let's see if we can like straighten it out. Okay. Yeah, whatever. Close enough for government work. We're at the channel highs. Again, these companies, people don't remember, these did some crazy reverse splits because oil at one time was the king of the mountain, and then they got absolutely demolished. 73 range? Again, I mean, let me just zoom in so you get reference here. Look at this action. Straight line. Not sustainable. Pull up the daily. Oh my God, it gets even steeper. Here you go. Here's your like nice, whatever, smooth, soft jazz channel up. Here's where it starts getting a little steeper. I mean, this is perpendicular. I mean, and here you go. Your channel high in it. Now again, blow out on Ukraine, chop, and the volume is drying up. That is not sustainable. I'm telling you, this is stretched. Think of the rubber band man theory. Nice and easy. Slingshot, stretched really hard, getting super choppy, really trying to go higher, and then it goes boom, and it pulls back because it's exhausted. That's how that typically works out. Now again, these straight line moves. Change the name of this, and you would say, oh, crap. I probably need to be careful with it. Let's end it on Valero. Good old VLO. Man, they've been pumping the gas for a while. Let me draw it for you again. Nice, smooth, soft channel. Something like that. I don't know. You could draw it a billion ways. Sunday. Think about the action, though. Again, nice and up, straight. Slingshot. This is not sustainable. This action is way too steep, way too fast. Now, again, how much higher can it go? I don't know, but I do. Been trading. I mean, I literally remember these friends. Look at this. What is this? I can't even. A 1 million for 91,000. Oh my God. I mean, look at these reverse splits. Like, people don't realize, like, these were the king of the hill. Remember, they were doing regular splits, like good splits, like 2-for-1s, and then bam, like Chef Emerald, bam. Now what? Do you guys think this is sustainable? I mean, I'm not trying to be. I mean, again, I know a lot of people are like, "You are nuts for shorting oil." And it's like, all right, man. I know how this is not usually the beginning of the move, folks. Here's that steepness. Here is that steepness after consolidation. After consolidation, that's usually the peak. I hope this helps. Again, I know people are panicking, and how much higher can stuff go? I always tell this: targets and exactness, that's not trading. Like that, again, it's really hard. And I've seen short arming targets. I've seen exact have been right on the dot with a channel. Say we draw something. Say God forbid we're lucky and we say that's the channel high and we're good. Time to short. Maybe today was actually the best day to short some of these stocks. Who knows? Took a little trade on and it was stupid. I'm just unwinding other shorts to short this stuff, and it could be dangerous. Could ultimately be very, I wouldn't say detrimental, but it's going to put me in it's going to be a wound that I'm going to need to get, I would say, probably stitches for, and need to take a mental break for a couple weeks. Doesn't mean I won't be watching the market and advising on it and just paying attention, but it'll be like, you know what? I'm going to be super uber patient in my next trade, because that's how Livermore would get out of a hole. He would, mess up, and they'd be like, listen, I'm going to be uber patient. I'm going to wait for the best setup, and then I'm going to trade it to make back his money, because he wanted to make his money back smartly and quickly and reinforce good rules. PXD, here's another one. Let's throw that in there. I mean, we talked about this guy. You can see on the weekly. I mean, look at these names. Things have been just in fuego. You just have to be mindful of this stuff. Like, this isn't safe. Like, this kind of action, maybe, yeah, I don't know. You can put it right around there. This isn't sustainable. I mean, I warn people this stuff. And so again, if you think, as I tell people, the blow off top is usually the end of the move. And now people are going to say oil's going to 1 million. Bitcoin's going to the moon. AMD is going to 250. Tesla's going to 5,000. When you hear these exaggerated targets after something's already gone up big, red flag. I mean, again, hopefully this video helps, but think about it. Like, don't get caught in this bull crap. Just like at the bottom. I mean, if you were a friend, been around, not that we didn't trade a ton of oil at the lows because we were looking at other stuff because it was COVID. I mean, you could have literally thrown a dart at the board and it went higher. But the psychology is part of trading. At the lows, electric cars have taken over. We don't need gas anymore. We don't need oil. We don't need any of this stuff. Gasoline is the past. Oil is for, don't invest in horse and buggy. Don't invest in taxis. Don't invest in yada, yada, yada. And look what happened. Again, when the sentiment gets so bad and when something, it usually is the bottom. At the highs, the sentiment, again, is unbreakable. People are unfazed. Higher prices are the highest degree of confidence that something's going higher, which is totally irrational. That's emotional. So again, please be careful. If you have questions, stop by the Discord room. I appreciate everybody. I love everybody. I know I'm not perfect. You're not going to be perfect. We try to support each other. We want to help each other out. This kind of action is difficult. Now, again, will we have like this straight move up higher in oil to finish off the move? I don't think so. I feel like this was the capitulation liquidity move that the market makers were looking for. All of this is just chop and retest before down. Have a great weekend. Stop by Discord room. Let's go Celtics.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.